Hi, I'm Josanne Wright Calendar, the author of The Happy Little Garbage Truck. It's a picture book based educational system which teaches literacy and self esteem. And I've been doing these little YouTube vlogs to help parents who are at home during the time of the quarantine, and just to give some assistance in building up your child's self esteem. And so today, this was sort of like I hadn't planned to speak on this. It was another topic which I won't tell you, but we'll do that later. But I was just thinking about how we're coming off of quarantine in a lot of states. Um, and the one thing that I spoke about before was positive mindset and the positive self talking in previous conversations. I thought about over the last couple of days is so incredibly important. And so today that's what we're going to talk about, how positivity helps build self-esteem. And in talking about positivity, this is something that is really difficult to hold on to because we know we live in a world that the negative seems to lurk around every corner, and there's always something that you'll see on the news that seems to say that there's no reason to have a positive mindset, but there are multiple reasons. And I'll do a little bit. I'll connect some of the research in my description box, but in teaching my class over the past 27 years as a special ed teacher, I found that was the one thing that I could bring to my classroom that I know that some of my colleagues had difficulty in bringing was to keep a positive mindset in the midst of everything that could possibly happen in a classroom. And as teachers who might be watching this, you know that a lot can happen, but we have to keep a positive mindset. And one of the best ways that I found to keep a positive attitude and a positive state of mind was to use positive affirmations. And not only for the children, but for myself. And I've been doing this particular type of skill building for over, I'd say, 40 years or so. And it's the one thing I've done a lot of research and watched a lot of promotional videos about keeping a positive mindset, read a lot of books, psychology books about how that helps one, keeps one's spirit lifted. And it just helps my state of mind and my spirit. So when I go into the classroom, I've already given myself that boost that I don't watch any news before I go into my classroom, and I still don't watch news first thing in the morning. I just, do my meditation, and I use my positive affirmations to begin my day. And actually, I read in one article that it's a good thing before you go to bed, actually, to write down some of these and review some of these affirmations. And then in the morning, before you turn on your phone or look at your phone, to write some of the goals that you have set for the day. So these are just a few things that I find help me keep a positive mindset. And during the day, you're really in need of a way to keep these thoughts active in your mind. In the class, I use a lot of meditation and prayer for myself, but in the classroom, I had to coach my team, my assistants, to use positive words when talking about the children. I had a couple of assistants that would say, "Oh, she will never read," or "he won't talk," and I coached them and I said, "Look, we have to use that tiny magic word yet, because we don't know. We can't. None of us have a crystal ball to look into the future to say what will happen with any of these children." And to that fact, I found yet, I still use the word yet when I have a conversation with someone says, "Oh, I'll never," I said, "Yet, you don't know what you're capable of doing." But these kind of words, the negative words, put a stop on our own spirit, and it actually keeps us from progressing or even trying our best when we're helping another child. But the better part of using the word yet is that it portrays any situation as fluid. And we want our children to have a fluid spirit and have that elasticity that we've been talking about with the adversity quotient and the positive mindset. So we have to exemplify that ourselves and model it ourselves. Well, two examples. The little girl that someone said, oh, she'll never read. This little girl, with coaching and tutoring, ended up leaving our special ed class and returning back to her regular school. And her father came back to our classroom and thanked me. And I said, you really have to thank my assistant because she was the one who worked with her nonstop. Whereas I had my whole class, she took it upon herself to work with her, work with this little girl. And the little girl blossomed. And I took that as, wow, this is just such, she never gave up. And she would tutor her after school and between breaks. And it was just a wonderful thing to see. And it informed my own teaching practice to take it upon myself to tutor students beyond the school bell time and with the parents' permission. So the little boy who would never talk, he couldn't speak clearly. He was trying and he would have tantrums because no one really could understand him. Well, years later, I met this little boy in his high school class. And I at first didn't recognize him. And then I looked because I was in another capacity as a program specialist. And I asked this teacher, I said, what's the name of the a young man sitting over there? And she told me, and I said, oh my goodness. And I went over to him and I said, hi, do you remember me? And this little boy, this young man, proceeded to just talk nonstop, perfectly clearly about just about everything that it seems like he had bottled up inside of him over the years that he wanted to share with me. And it was just like it almost brought tears to my eyes. And just as a kind of visual reference, I thought back to his assistant who never gave up. He was his one-on-one, and he was a behavioral assistant. He had a T-shirt that had a pig with wings, and it had a little inscription, "When pigs fly." He says, and he's going to talk. And that positive mindset was what spurred him along to continue to encourage this boy. I don't know if he ever saw the young man later on in life to see how his dedication helped this young man talk later on had manifested itself. But his positive mindset made a difference in this young man's life later on. So we really have to remember to use positives. It not only keeps our children's spirit high, but it also keeps our spirit high, and we aim for excellence. So this talk went a little longer, but I just said I had to talk about this, and we'll talk a little bit more about positivity next week. So until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.